Gerty MacDowell, who was sitting near her companions, lost in thought, gazing far away into the distance, was in very truth as fair a specimen of winsome Irish womanhood as one could wish to see. She was pronounced beautiful by all who knew her, though, as folks often said, she was more a Giltrap than a MacDowell. Why have women such eyes of witchery? Gertie's were of the bluest Irish blue, set off by lustrous lashes and dark, expressive eyebrows. Time was when those brows were not so silkily seductive. It was Madame Vera Verite, directress of the Woman Beautiful page of the Princess Novelette, who had first advised her to try eyebrow lean, which gave that haunting expression to the eyes, so becoming in leaders of fashion. She had never regretted it. But Gertie's crowning glory was her wealth of wonderful hair. It was gold-spun brown with a natural wave in it. She had cut it that very morning on account of the new moon, and it nestled about her pretty head in a profusion of luxuriant clusters. Gertie was dressed simply, but with the instinctive taste of a votary of dame fashion. A neat blouse of electric blue, self-tinted by dolly dyes, with a smart V opening down to the division and kerchief pocket, and a navy three-quarter skirt cut to the stride, showed off her graceful figure to perfection. Her shoes were the newest thing in footwear, with a patent toe caps and just one smart buckle at her high-arched instep. Her well-turned ankle displayed its perfect proportions beneath her skirt, and just the proper amount and no more of her shapely limbs, encased in fine spun hose with high spliced heels and wide garter tops. As for undies, they were Gertie's chief care, and who knows the fluttering hopes and fears of sweet 17, though Gertie would never see 17 again, can find it in his heart to blame her. She was wearing the blue for luck, hoping against hope, her own color, and the lucky color, too, for a bride to have a bit of blue. She gazed out towards this distant sea. It was like the paintings that man used to do on the pavement with all the colored chalks, and such a pity, too, leaving them there to be all blotted out. The evening and the clouds coming out, and the Bailey light on Howth, and to hear the music like that, and the perfume of those incense they burned in the church like a kind of waft. And while she gazed, her heart went pit-a-pat. Yes, it was her he was looking at, and there was meaning in his look. His eyes burned into her as though they would search her through and through, read her very soul. Wonderful eyes they were, superbly expressive, but could you trust them? He was looking up so intently, so still, and he saw her kick the ball. And perhaps he could see the bright steel buckles of her shoes if she swung them like that thoughtfully with her toes down. Her woman's instinct told her that she had raised the devil in him. And at the thought, a burning scarlet swept from throat to brow, till the lovely color of her face became a glorious rose. If ever there was undisguised admiration in a man's passionate gaze, it was there, plain to be seen on that man's face. It is for you, Gertrude MacDowell, and you know it. For Gertie had her dreams that no one knew of. She loved to read poetry, and when she got a keepsake from Bertha Supple of that lovely confession album with the coral pink cover to write her thoughts in, she laid it in the drawer of her toilette table, which, though it did not err on the side of luxury, was scrupulously neat and clean. It was there she kept her girlish treasure trove, the tortoise-shell combs, her Child of Mary badge, the white rose scent, the eyebrow lean, her alabaster pouncet box, and the ribbons to change when her things came home from the wash. And there were some beautiful thoughts written in it, in violet ink, that she bought in Helly's. The eyes that were fastened upon her set her pulses tingling. She looked at him a moment, meeting his glance, and a light broke in upon her. She leaned back far to look up where the fireworks were, and she caught her knee in her hands so as not to fall back, and looking up, and there was no one to see, only him and her, when she revealed all her graceful, beautifully shaped legs like that, supplely soft and delicately rounded, and she seemed to hear the panting of his heart. And she leaned back ever so far to see the fireworks, and something queer was flying about through the air. A soft thing, to and fro, dark. And she saw a long Roman candle going up over the trees, up, and in the tense hush, they were all breathless with excitement as it went higher and higher, and she had to lean back more and more to look up after it, high, almost out of sight, and her face was suffused with a divine and entrancing blush from straining back. And she saw that he saw, and then it went so high, it went out of sight for a moment, and she was trembling in every limb from being bent so far back. He had a full view high up above her knee, no one ever, not even on the swing or waiting, and she wasn't ashamed, and he wasn't either, to look in that immodest way like that, because he couldn't resist the sight of the wondrous revealment, half offered like those skirt dancers behaving so immodest before gentlemen looking, and he kept on looking. She would have fain cried to him chokingly, held out her snowy, slender arms to come, to feel his lips laid on her white brow, the cry of a young girl's love, a little strangled cry, wrung from her, that cry that is wrung through the ages. And then a rocket sprang and bang, shot blind, and then the Roman candle burst, and it was like a sigh, and everyone cried, in raptures, and it gushed out of it a stream of rain, gold hair threads, and they shone, they were all green, dewy stars falling with gold, and so lively, so soft, sweet, soft. Gertie had an idea, one of love's little ruses. She slipped a hand into her kerchief pocket and took out the waiting and waved in reply, of course without letting him, and then slipped it back. Wonder if he's too far. She rose. Was it goodbye? No, she had to go, but they would meet again, there, and she would dream of that till then. Tomorrow, her dream of yesteryear. She drew herself up to her full height, their souls bent in a last, lingering glance, and the eyes that reached her heart, full of a strange shining, hung and raptured on her sweet, flower-like face. She smiled at him wanly. A sweet, forgiving half-smile. A smile that verged on tears. And then they parted.
Slowly, without looking back, she went down the uneven strand to Sissy, Edie, Jackie, Tommy Caffrey, the little baby boy. It was dark. There were stones, bits of wood and strand, slippery seaweed. She walked with a certain quiet dignity characteristic of her, but with care, very slowly, because Gerty MacDowell was tight moves. Ah, she's late. Oh, poor girl. That's why she's left on the shelf and the others did a sprint. Thought something was wrong with the cut of a jib. Jilted beauty. A defect is 10 times worse in a woman. It makes them polite. Near her monthlies, I expect, makes them feel ticklish. How many women in Dublin have it to take? Martha, she. Something in the air. That's the moon, but then why don't all women menstruate at the same time? With the same moon, I mean. Depends on the time they were born, I suppose, or all start scratch and then get out of step. And they like dressing one another for the sacrifice. Millie delighted with Molly's new blouse. The first put them on. Take them all off. Out on the spec project, they believe in chance because it's so like themselves. Oh, when you feel like that, you often meet what you feel. And the stage setting, the rouge, costume, position, music, the name too, amours of actresses, Nell Gwynn, Mrs. Bracegirdle, Ward Branscombe, curtain up, silver moonlight effulgence, maiden with pensive breast. Oh, little sweetheart, come and kiss me. Still, I feel, yeah, the strength it gives a man makes you want to sing after. Suppose I spoke to her. What about? Bad plan, however, if you don't know how to end the conversation. Ask them a question, I ask you another. And you, a married man and a single girl? That's what they enjoy, taking a man from another woman. Yet if I went the whole hog, say, I want to. Something like that. Because I did, and she too. Offend her. Then I make it up. Pretend to want something awfully, then cry off for her sake, flatters them. Must, since she came to the use of reason, she must have been thinking of someone else all the time. And he. First kiss. The propitious moment. Something inside them just goes, mushy like. Tell by that eye inside. First thoughts are best. Remember that till their dying day. Didn't look back when she was going down the strand. Wouldn't give me that satisfaction. Those girls, those lovely seaside girls, all dimples, smiles and curves, it turns your head a whirl. Oh. Yeah. Fine eye she had clear. It's the white of the eye brings that out, not so much the pupil. It'd be good all the same. For this relief, much thanks, Hamlet, that is. Lord, it was all things combined, excitement, when she leaned back, it was a kind of language between us. It couldn't be. Gertie, they called her. Ah, wristwatches are always going wrong. Also that now is magnetism. Back of everything, magnetism. That causes movement and time. Well, that's the time the movement takes. Then if one thing stopped, the whole be shut over. It stopped bit by bit because it's arranged. Magnetic needle tells you what's going on in the sun, the stars, when you hold out the fork. Tip. Woman and man, that is. Dress up and look and suggest and see you and see more and defy you if you're a man to see that. And like a sneeze, coming legs, look, and if you have any guts in you. Oh. Wait. Well, and her perfume, why she waved her hand. I leave you this to think of me when I'm far away on my pillow. What is it? Glitter? No. Hyacinth? No. Rose? I think, yes. She'd like scent like that mysterious thing too. Why did I smell it? What do you mean now? Took its time in coming like herself, slow but sure. Suppose it's ever so many millions of tiny grains blow across. Yes, it is, because those spice islands sing on leaves. This morning, smell them, leaves off. Tell you what it is, it's like a fine veil or web they have all over the skin. Fine like, what do you call it, gossamer? And they're always spinning it out of themselves. Fine as anything, rainbow colours, without them. Animals go by that. Yes, now, look at it that way. We're the same. Perhaps they get a man smell off us. What's the cigarette clothes? Man smell of me. Women buzz round it like flies round a treacle. That diffuses itself through the body, permeates, source of life, and it's extremely curious, the smell. Celery sauce? Let me. Do you follow it? That for you, dear. To sit on that stone brings on white fluxions. Like to be that rock she sat on. Oh, sweet little. You don't know how nice you looked. But it's the evening influence. Open like flowers, know they're ours. Sunflowers, Jerusalem artichokes in ballroom chandeliers, avenues under the lamp. Nightstock in Magdalene's garden where I kissed her shoulder. Wish I had a full-length oil painted over them. June that was too, I believe. The year returns. History repeats. Ye crags and peaks, I'm with you once again. Life, love, voyage round your own little world. And now, sad about her leg, of course, but must be on your guard not to feel too much pity. They take it.